Remember Zaheer from Avatar: The Legend of Korra?
Instinct is a lie, told by a fearful body, hoping to be wrong.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means that when you base your expectations only on what you see, you blind yourself to the possibilities of a new reality.
That, to me, was one of the coldest scenes in the entire show, and it almost completely encapsulates who Zaheer is as a character. An anarchist, a misunderstood philosopher, and the man who tried to kill the Avatar. This is Cartoon Hub, and this is Understanding Zaheer, the man who tried to kill the Avatar. Before we get into it, let's recap Zaheer's story. So you all remember the White Lotus from the first Avatar series, the secret organization that all the OGs like Iroh and Bumi belonged to. Well, after the events of Avatar: The Last Airbender, they stopped being so secret and started taking an active role in raising the Avatar. They low-key became nannies for the Avatar, and that didn't sit well with a man named Jai Bao, who broke off from the White Lotus to create his own secret society, which he named the Red Lotus. What an original name, right? I'm sure they're not the bad guys. Zaheer became a member and was part of a plot to abduct the Avatar. He did this with his team, which is comprised of some of the illest benders ever, the lava bender Gazan, the water bender Minghua, and the combustion bender Pali. They failed to abduct the Avatar and were instead thrown into specialized prisons to keep them from using their bending. The waterbender with no arms was held in a boiling volcano. The earthbender was held in a wooden fortress in the middle of the ocean, and the firebender in an icy underground tundra deep in the North Pole. Zaheer himself wasn't a bender, but was held in a cave-like prison high in the mountains. They were all in prison for 13 years until the events of Season 2 gave Zaheer the power of airbending, which he used to escape and free his comrades. They then proceeded to go on a tear, infiltrating Republic City, killing the Earth Queen, and eventually abducting the Avatar. It's important to mention that during this process, Zaheer lost the love of his life, and because of that unlocked the ability to fly.
Did he just fly?
Guess he doesn't need a ride.
Which was a crazy moment in the series. But eventually Zaheer was stopped by Team Avatar, and his entire team unfortunately died in the process. He was again thrown in prison. The irony of it is, dude is the second person in history to learn how to fly, and yet he will spend his life shackled to the ground. Now that you know his story, let's analyze him as a character. For me, Zaheer's philosophy centers around two major aspects: freedom and chaos. As I've said before, Zaheer is an anarchist, which means that he's not too fond of governments or people in power. Zaheer believes that the natural state of the world is chaos, and that establishments like governments throw the world out of balance. He intends to change the status quo and throw the world back into chaos, hence the reason why Season 3 of Avatar: Legend of Korra is titled Book 3, Change. The Avatar, of course, acts as an agent of order for the world, so by killing her, he throws the world into chaos. Now, in my opinion, when he said that chaos is the natural order of things, I think that this is what he meant. Think of any place on Earth that doesn't have human civilizations in it. Jungles, savannas, oceans. In places where there are no humans, just animals, there is no order. There is no police monitoring the actions of the animals, nor are there laws dictating what the animals can and cannot do. There are no schools that force children to learn the same things, or governments that control what is done with the country's resources. The animals simply do as they please and do what they desire. Obviously, this isn't a paradise, since there is no law, and because of this, the animals spend most of their time trying to survive, avoiding being eaten by predators or vice versa, hunting for prey. But technically, they are completely free. Another way of looking at it is to look at your own life. Yes, you, watching this video. Are you truly free? If being completely free was being able to do whatever you wanted, and being unfree was being in prison, where do you fall on that scale? If you're watching this, you're probably not in prison, so you're not at the bottom of the scale, but you're definitely not as high as you think. Since you were young, you've most likely been in school, where you did not get to choose the information being taught to you at all, but you had to memorize it all, and you did. Ask yourself honestly, was that really a choice? A lot of you were raised under a certain religion that you didn't choose either, but still practice to this day, having never questioned the validity of something that has influenced a big portion of all your worldviews and decisions. Social media has you basing your self-worth on your face, curves, bank account, height, muscle mass, or even your skin color. A lot of women genuinely believe that they're not attractive because they're skinny or thick. A lot of men feel the same way because they're short or broke or skinny. Did any of them choose that? Or were they simply bombarded by so much information telling them how they were supposed to feel about themselves that they just went along with it? If you think about it, bro, honestly, are you even fully attracted to the types of boys or girls that you date? Or do you simply do it because that's what all your friends and people from your area find attractive? Do you even like partying at the places that you party at? Or do you just go because that's the thing to do? Are you genuinely fulfilled with the work you do or the degree that you're studying? Or do you just do it because, once again, that's the thing to do? You see, establishments like churches, governments, families, and schools set the standards for what is okay and what is not okay. But what if you don't like the same types of girls that your friends like? What if you don't want the boys that social media tells you should date? What if you hate your lifestyle and hate the nightlife in your city? What if you're unfulfilled with your job? Well, if you feel that way and you continue to do those things out of fear of rejection or other reasons, then you are in fact not as free as you think you are. That is what Zaheer was fighting against. He wanted to create a world where there were no rules, no status quo, where everyone could simply do what they want and be what they want. The obvious problem with that is a lot of humans are immoral and, if left to their own devices, would wreak havoc. It would be lawlessness everywhere. But after thinking about what I told you, you can't deny it, Bose. Zaheer had a point. And even though I don't agree with how he went about it, he's not completely wrong. My final question to you is this. When you look at the life you've lived and the choices you've made, how many of them were your own, and how many of them were influenced by the people, places, and establishments around you?